All right, welcome back. Hope you all had a happy holiday, a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year. We're back at it again with some educational, informational videos here at Dolphin Computer Service. Um, like I said on Facebook, if you guys follow me, which you should, I'll have the link down below. We didn't post any videos because again it was Christmas and New Year's. We wanted to spend time, enjoying the holidays. So I decided to not post any videos. But that's just a quick rundown, just in case if y'all were wondering. So as always, we're gonna get straight into the video, a continuation on what I think you should do instead of getting a Wi-Fi repeater or extender is to upgrade your Wi-Fi entirely. So one of the ways I recommend is getting a Wi-Fi mesh system. So if you have a smaller home or a studio apartment or even an apartment, you could just get a newer router that covers more space and you will be more than enough most of the time. There's always that one occasion, maybe your walls are a little thick or something like that. But in that case, this Wi-Fi mesh system will cover it. And again, not sponsored, this is just my recommendations on equipment I've used. So Wi-Fi mesh is a whole lot different. So you see here, the main goal of the Wi-Fi mesh system is to cover your entire home in a blanket of Wi-Fi. So here we have an example of, like I was talking, where your Wi-Fi router is behind like a wall or it's really far away, and objects, like walls or furniture or even people sometimes can get in the way of the Wi-Fi signal reaching to you. So in certain areas you might have like a dead zone where, like, maybe at the corner of your house you won't get any Wi-Fi, but in the middle you'll get some, and then in the same room that your Wi-Fi router's in, you'll have plenty of signal. So not only does this prevent you from getting internet access from your devices, it also slows down the internet connection as well. I will link this website in the description below if you want to do some further reading. So here's an example of what your typical, just your single Wi-Fi router does. It creates a blanket of Wi-Fi in an area, and it's usually, at least in the States, measured in square feet. So obviously, if you have a 3,000 square foot house, but you only have a router that can cover 1,500, you're missing half your house, more or less. So here, as you see here, right next to it, you're perfectly fine. But when you start moving up over here or on the top floor or further away, the signal gets a little weaker. And if you get far enough, you can either have barely any or none entirely. So again, that's what the Wi-Fi mesh system does, is by placing different nodes, which I'll get to in a minute, by placing different nodes in different areas across the house, you can increase that coverage without losing the speed. So as you see here, we also have some, just a further example of how, you're using lights here to connect, rooms to give them light. And that's kind of what we're doing. That's exactly, in fact, what we're doing with the Wi-Fi nodes, is we're going to have one in strategically placed, whether in each room or in certain areas of the house, to make sure every room has Wi-Fi. So the one nice thing, so as I jump around here a little bit, actually, so this is how communication works between the nodes. So, and that's the reason why it's so much faster than using a repeater, because the nodes have their own dedicated connection. Like, this is a dual band, like some have triple band or quad band, and some of them you could actually connect to each other via an Ethernet cable. And in case like the Deco series from TP-Link, you could actually even use a power line, Ethernet over power line adapters that's built into the system, and it will use the wiring in your house to have the units connect to each other and talk to each other and transfer data seamlessly. And it's because of this connection that the two nodes can talk to each other, is what allows the Wi-Fi mesh system to achieve the maximum speed that your internet service provider gives you, without while also covering your home. This is something that the regular Wi-Fi repeater extender can't do, because since there really is no communication between the router and the extender, you're going to lose some speed. But with this way, you don't you lose very little to none at all. However, you want to keep the amount of nodes as minimal as possible. If you can get away with two, that's great. Like here in my home, I have just two of them. But in some cases, like if you have a multi-story home, you do need three. It's fine. And another thing, because the same thing also applies, the more nodes you add eventually, even with the dedicated network that they share and connect to exclusively that no other device can use, once you start adding 4, 5, 6, eventually it will slow down. But these are designed to be added to. So like you start off with a pack of two, and some you start off with a pack of three. You could just buy the individual ones and keep adding as you needed to increase the square footage coverage. So as we go back over here, this is how they talk to each other again, more specifically for at least this model. You have the node communicate with another node, and eventually it communicates with your device. And the nice thing about using the Wi-Fi, about the Wi-Fi mesh system, is that you no longer have a different SSID that can confuse devices. And these Wi-Fi mesh systems are actually really smart. They actually have processors built inside of them to do computational task and all that. So let's say you're in your bedroom. Let's go back up here. Let's say you're in, let's say this is a bedroom right here where the mouse is at. So you start off in your bedroom, and let's say and you actually have the nodes here, 1, 2, and 3. So you're in here. This node, your cell phone, if you're in your bedroom, will communicate with this Wi-Fi node, and then it'll eventually work its way back to the main one, which is connected to your modem and throughout the internet. So let's say you walk up these stairs. Since these nodes are communicating with each other, it says, hey, this guy moved away. He's closer to you than I am to him. So transfer over to this node so he can get the best Wi-Fi signal on the fastest speed possible. So they also have a bunch of other technology like beam forming, so where the signal is always at its strongest no matter where you are or how you're holding the device. There's also what they call MIMO, multiple input, multiple outputs. Those deserve separate videos in of itself. But long story short, if you have a small, efficiency, a studio apartment or a small apartment or even a small home, you can probably get away with not having to do this entirely, because these are kind of on the more expensive side than just getting a whole new router. So if you have a smaller home, just get something with a little bit more square footage than you probably need. So if you have a 1,500 square foot, home, get like a 2,000, and that'll be more than enough. So, because you don't want to be covering your neighbor's house in your Wi-Fi either. So getting just a more powerful one can probably do the trick if you have a smaller home or apartment or office. But for especially like an example like this, where you have a multi-story home, or you have a older home that uses thicker construction, something, instead of using stucco instead of drywall, using concrete instead of wood, other things like that, then definitely a Wi-Fi mesh system is definitely something that I recommend for you. When it comes to Wi-Fi mesh systems, get the latest one. Don't get you can get a Wi-Fi 5, but get the latest Wi-Fi 6 one if possible. I know it's not in everyone's budget, but it is doable. The reason why I say that is because Wi-Fi 6 works better with newer devices. A Wi-Fi 5 a cell phone can connect with a Wi-Fi 6 router, and a Wi-Fi 6 router can connect with a Wi-Fi 5, cell phone. But, Wi-Fi 6 does bring a lot of enhancements when it comes to, range, stability, signal strength, and for mobile devices, they use a lot less energy than Wi-Fi 5. So you'll notice, if you're on Wi-Fi a lot, you'll notice your battery is probably improving. So the ones I recommend, I'm going to start off with the one I have. I have the Wi-Fi. I have the Aris Surfboard Max. I have an older one because I bought it a little bit further ago. It looks basically like this one. Um, a lot of these, let me click on here for you. So a lot of, if you're looking for one, a Wi-Fi mesh system, make sure it has Ethernet ports, because you never know when you have a device that needs, that only has a wired connection, or you want it to have a wired connection. And this way you can plug it in. Even though it doesn't have Wi-Fi, you can at least plug it into the Ethernet and get internet. In fact, how I have in my home is I have a node in my room, which is where I spend most of my time, and I have a node where the router is, where the main modem is. And with that, I have complete coverage in my house. In fact, I could actually go outside to my sidewalk and still have, full speed internet. Again, this one was way too big for my house, but I got it on a really good deal. They were on clearance at the time, so I figured, why not? These are normally, $500, and I got it for less than half. So I figured, hey, why not? It's a sale you're not gonna see very often, so I picked one up. So back to how I have it is I have a network switch connected to here, and all the devices, like my gaming computer, my Apple TV, my PlayStation 5, my Nintendo Switch when it's in dock mode, all those stuff that I want on a wired connection. I have it connected to the Switch, and then I have the one Ethernet cable that goes from the Switch all the way to the surfboard mat to the surfboard here to the node, and both nodes will have them. And I also have my security cameras connected that way too, so they can just connect hardwired instead of having to use a wireless connection. And that way I can, and that way all the stuff that I want wired is wired. So this, I love this thing, but I also hate it at the same time, because the system is great, but the app support, you have to do usually with these Wi-Fi mesh systems, you have to download an app to your computer or to your phone. The app on the Aris surfboards are terrible. They haven't updated it. It's very buggy. A lot of times you have to. While the system, like I said, is good, the app is terrible. But once you have it set up, you really never have to worry about it again. You never have to use the app again after that. So if you get one of these on sale, or you see one of these for a really good price, I recommend you get them. This is the one I use. I've had it for several years now, going on about 4 years, and I really do enjoy it. So it's something definitely worthwhile. So this one, the Deco series here. Sorry, I got the wrong link here. So the Deco over here. Again, this is another link showing you how it all works. So let me click on the product here. Oh, it's actually right here. So this is the 3-pack one. They have a bunch of different ones, but this one was the runner up. This is, I think, the one that has that uses the power line over Ethernet built in to help connect to everything. If let's say it can't connect to each other via the wireless network. But this is another runner-up that I was going to get. These are the more budget-friendly options. The TP-Link and let me go back here and show you the other one. And the Deco. The Deco one was the runner-up for me, not the other one. It was this one. But the Deco, you can find these on Amazon. That's when they usually have sales and stuff. But the TP-Link is the more budget-oriented one. As you see, you have, the 1-pack if you want to add a node, the 2-pack, which is what they normally come with, and the 3-pack if you need it. Again, if you can get away with, just getting with just the 2, that's more than fine. And you could actually just use it as one by itself if you have a really small home. That's another option for you. As you see here, the way they communicate, and you could also use a gigabit Ethernet as a form of, if you have the capability of plugging them in all together at the same time. So this one is considered the best in the industry, is the Netgear Orbi by Netgear. These are extremely expensive, but if you do happen to buy one or get one, you will totally, from what I hear, I've never used one, but I've heard a lot of great reviews about them. You will never be not satisfied with it. This is considered the best in the industry. So then we have the other one from Linksys, the Develop. These again are the more somewhat budget friendly options. Again, you could they start off at 199. I've seen them, but when you get the for like the 2-pack, they're probably 299 exactly. But again, this is the TP Link and the Linksys are the more budget friendly options. And then here's the one I really wanted to show you, the Deco S4. Again, I just showed it to you now. So these are the ones I recommend that you get if you do look into getting them. And if you don't have to get these exactly, again, these are just my recommendations. But if you do want to pick up ones, I also recommend sticking with name brand. Getting a Linksys, a Netgear, a TP Link, a D Link, an Eris, something that that has at least a company that has experience behind doing these kind of things. Thank you very much for watching, folks. I hope y'all learned something and hope to see you in the next one.